Welcome to another session of Endless Legend. This time I'm going to be playing the Necrophages. And I've sort of put this off a bit because I feel like the Necrophages are in some ways the Endless difficulties version of easy mode. And that's largely because they circumvent the hardest thing about Endless difficulty. Alright, so you're always worried about the fact that the area is going to have more armies than you. But the Necrophages have a way of generating, in theory, infinite forces, and that's by using this proliferator unit. And this single-handedly makes them, I think, a top-tier faction. Because the proliferator has this parasitism ability. It doesn't do much on its own, but whenever you infect a unit and then kill it, you get a new, what is it called? You get a new Battleborn. And the Battleborn is a pretty solid melee unit, meaning that you basically, if you have a proliferator and you can keep it alive, you can basically generate infinite forces or not infinite, but you can generate a ton of forces out of your opponent's army units. Meaning that you don't run into the normal problem of endless difficulty, where you just run out of forces because the AI has more than you because of its cheating on resources. So the proliferator is extremely powerful because of what it offers you, that a way to have more forces without having more resources. Which, the AI normally has way more resources than you, so you can never hope to match it militarily, so you need to trade extremely well or play very defensively. And with the Necrophages, that just isn't true because of the proliferator. Once you have this thing in your army, you can just fight almost continuously. Obviously, there's reasons why we want to not attack other factions. Maybe we just reached our cap for cities or whatever. But once we get the proliferator, we don't actually have to worry that much about being outnumbered, which is a huge deal in endless difficulty. There are so many factions that suffer from the fact that endless difficulty punishes you for just having less army units. Like the Morgar. The Morgar can't really build a land army early in the game. So they're very vulnerable to just being overrun, and you have to be a bit lucky to win with them. But the Necrophages completely flip that on the head, so that dynamic is no longer an issue. So that single-handedly makes them, I think, possibly I don't want to say the most powerful faction in the game, but the faction which has the most comfortable time on endless difficulty, just because, you never have to worry about that. Or at least you don't have to worry as much about that messed up army dynamic on that difficulty setting. If we're talking about the proliferator enough, apart from that we have a Forager, which is a decent melee unit, which has anti-range and anti-infantry weapons available to it. Pretty solid. And here the Necrodrone, which is a solid flying unit. Necrodrone is probably going to be better than Forager on stats, although, like I said, the Forager can equip an axe or a sword to counter ranged or melee units. And also having a shield makes it possibly better than long term. Both of these units have the special disease ability, which lets them spread disease on any target they attack, and also whenever a target with disease dies, it spreads disease to nearby targets. And also, all of our units are disease immune, which means we're kind of encouraged to pick up a Necrophage hero for our army, because other heroes will start getting the disease. So either a ranged hero or Necrophage hero is ideal. We do want an army hero because we're going to be playing quite aggressively. But the disease sort of puts some constraints on that. In a practice game, I accidentally got a Broken Lord hero, and then I was like, oh, okay, so they're diseased, and I can't regenerate naturally. Great. So that's one thing to watch out for. So I talked about the army units first here, because disease and parasitism from the proliferator are such important mechanics for us. But let's talk about the economic traits, which are obviously also very important. So the main downside of playing Necrophages is that they suck as farmers. Agriculturally challenged means that we're losing we're losing food on terrain with food, which is a pretty big deal. Our starting tiles are going to be pretty bad because of this. Because you can't just settle where there is no food, because then you'll starve. I mean, you could, but then that has its own problems, right? We have a lot of mechanics to try and make up for this, though. Firstly, when we kill units in battle, or when units die in battle, which we not win, but at least in which there's a tie, we gather the corpses and we put them on a stockpile. And when we have 8 of these corpses on the stockpile, we gain a food stockpile. Well, I don't know. I guess stockpile for both. Okay, we put all the bodies in the pile, and when we have 8 of them, we get a stockpile. And the stockpile can be used to boost our food temporarily. So we actually, most of our agriculture is gonna, or at least a good chunk of our agriculture, is gonna come from being able to kill other units and turn them into food. That's kind of the theme of the necrophages, like they eat bodies. Now what else is interesting about them? We have cull the herd. So if we pacify villagers, that means our population units will produce more food. This is quite powerful. Like each population unit is giving us an additional 2 food production. And that's pretty solid. So we have some mechanics that will help us use military to account for the fact that we can't farm normally, or can't farm that well normally. We can kill units and put them, or have units die and put them on a pile and then recycle them for food. Or we can pacify minor factions to increase the food production of our civilians. Or our hive workers. Then we have some other stuff which is kind of neat, like we have 10% attack per declared war on units. That's just generally nice. As long as we're at war, our units will be slightly better. We can be at war with multiple factions, although that's obviously risky. We have increased health regen on Empire, which is pretty awesome because it means that our armies very quickly regenerate their health, and very rarely will we have a situation we can't engage because we have injured units. And also we have cellular's mutation, which means the cost of a district is reduced. Obviously nice for building up big cities. Now, there's some unique technologies we're not going to worry about right now. We start with the ability to build Necrodrones, Alchemist's Furnace. So that's pretty neat. We don't have to research the important military technologies. We can focus on I would say industrial, but economic upgrades instead in the early game. And just already having these is good because I want both of these anyways. So, you know, for early technologies, I'm happy if they're ones that I think are useful anyways. Obviously, ideally, they'd be the very best early game technologies, but you know, it's kind of boring if that's always the case. And the last thing is that we're pitiless, so one does not debate one's next meal. One does not simply. This is basically the downside of being this endless war faction. We can't make peaces or alliances. If we're ever weak, that means that we can't make alliances to catch up into the game, which is obviously a big comeback mechanic in these little 4X games. This is a bigger deal against human players because the endless AI doesn't give a fuck about you. I'm sorry about the language. The endless AI basically thinks that you're weak unless you're ahead of it in score. So unless you're already doing well, it's never going to offer an alliance. So this is less of a downside because of how endless difficulty works. So again, basically the way the necrophages work... Oh, I forgot this Rising Dead trait. This is amazing. Basically, if we recycle stockpiles during a dust eclipse, we get 3 units. We get 2 free units. That's insane. And we also get more cadavers for recycling during a dust eclipse. So basically, the dust eclipse bonus is very powerful in necrophages as well, which made it even better. So basically, I don't know if the necrophages are the best faction in multiplayer, but the way endless difficulty works means that the necrophages are very well positioned. Like, it doesn't matter that we can't declare war, can't declare peace, and the proliferators are just an excellent army unit, which helps us generate enough forces to compete with the endless AI, which is something that almost none other faction can do. Every other faction needs to trade quite efficiently for wars on endless difficulty. Like, it's not like I can't do it with certain factions. Like with the Volters, you can just build these range armies which are hyper efficient, like Volters, Wildwalkers, Cultists. You can make a powerful wraparound army with the Kapaku, but in each of these cases you need to trade efficiently, and the necrophages don't have to do that. With the proliferator, we can trade relatively like 60-40 or close to 50-50, but then just keep building up units and defeat enemies that way. So, with that in mind, let's dive into a game and start putting some pressure on the AI. Sorry I spent so much time explaining, but I feel like it's worth it to understand why certain factions are just better or worse on endless difficulty, just because the way the game works, or the way the balancing works. Here's our unique technology that Tip is reminding us. We can sacrifice city workers to gain approval. Pretty garbage ability, to be honest. Approval is only short term from that, and a city worker is forever. And maybe it's in the end game we're sort of making a push. I actually remember there's actually one part of the quest where you have to cull the population to a low amount, and there that is actually kind of useful-ish, sort of. Not really. I have another unique technology which is actually good though, and that's the ability to. No, wait, what does it do again? Oh yeah, it reduces our military upkeep by like 50% on our units, 20% on our heroes, which is really good because it means that we can have very large armies without dying a slow death from like bleeding dust, which again, not many factions can have those big armies because of upkeep. Because upkeep is so punishing in this game. This artwork is pretty cool. Yeah, proliferator.
The colony was everything. They were born as one. They fought as one. And they died as one. Driven by their hunger. But I hunted for something more. I stole the sentience of an ancient power and saw a greater purpose. For we were the first. Auriga is our planet. And I will turn our hunger against those trespassers who would take it from us. One day we will reign supreme on Auriga. And we will gaze up at the stars. Still hungry.
I mean, I know they are different, but they just remind me of the Cravers. I'm pretty like, frequently I just say Necrophages when I mean Cravers, and Cravers when I mean Necrophages. Alright, so let's look at the start. So here we have some spices. Spices are good. I'm very happy to pick that up. Here is... Alright, there's a bunch of anomalies. Let me just put the tile view on. So, a rumbling stone adds 4 industry and 2 dust. Okay, not bad. The moss pills add a little bit of food and a chunk of science. And black earth adds a lot of food. That's good. So if we have a tiles of a ton of food, obviously the reduction is not that bad. So we probably want to start here, and then I haven't checked which tiles are best, but something like starting here and then moving over to the spices deposit seems logical. With that in mind, we can start scouting. Weirdly, with the Necrophages, our scouting patterns are going to be a lot different than other factions. So often we want to just scout as much area as possible, talk to as many villages as possible. As you might be able to see here, we don't actually have the ability to parley because we don't talk to our food. And for that reason, we're not going to worry too much about, you know, spreading ourselves thin, finding everyone. Oh, it's good that I checked because here's, let's see, Mutant March, and this is quite nice actually. My Cadria, like, look, just the ability to gain happiness at the start of the turn is very important. Yeah, what was I saying? Although we just picked up dice, and the happiness is not that important. And it costs us an extra movement to get there. So, it's actually fine for us to keep our army units sort of together. And just... Because we're gonna, instead of parlaying villages, we have to take over villages, or destroy them, basically. And that just means that... Yeah, just the ability to scout on large sections of land is less valuable. Okay, now let's see if we can move this over. We could move down here, but moving down here, this is obviously a very desirable tile, right? Tile. It's a very desirable tile, but it comes at the cost of waiting in our turn. It has a lot of industry, but has much less food. Also, it gives us happiness, but also that's about it. On the other hand, this tile is very nice for dust and food production. it's much less nice for industry. So that is a difficult choice. Let's move up. If we're going here, we're getting enough dust, I think, that we can split this army again. At least temporarily. We can maybe go there to make sure there's no minor faction in that area. Finding the minor faction village is kind of important for us because we just want to attack it. Because we're monsters. Yeah, so I do have to make this rather difficult choice. 15 food and 7 industry is no joke. Actually, we can go here. I didn't realize we can actually reach this in one turn. This is maybe a better tile, but yeah. So this adds a lot of science, but not so much dust. And to be fair, we probably want to link up our armies pretty soon, so the dust is not that big a deal. And also the fact that we're going to be happy means we're going to be in the 70 happiness level because we're going to get that bonus. This is going to be quite nice for dust production. Also, that produces more science. Maybe I should just count up the amount of resources we're getting. So we're getting 12, 25, 28 in total. And here we're getting 17 plus. Yeah, it's only 26 here. This gives us more resources and the happiness bonus. So I guess it probably has to be best, although I'm tempted to go for the food. But yeah, food is just going to be... It's going to be less easy for us to get a food economy going. I'm also going to have to worry about our dust economy, but okay, that happens. Also, not being able to go on the spice extractor is a little bit of a downside, but okay. We can always get the spice extractor and then just build spice extractors on there. Like, we don't have to build a district over there. Okay, as you can see, we're slowly bleeding dust. It's okay, we can bleed dust for a couple of turns and then link up our armies. We do want to scout a bit, but we also do want to attack at some point. So I probably want to move the hero over there and attack this village as soon as I can. It's because we can use the militia to attack the village as well. It's sort of a weird thing, but you can use the militia offensively. Again, not a trick I came up with. It is a very important trick. Oh, it's a good trick. Now I'm going to move it here so we can get a worker and a Founders Memorial in 5 turns. That seems quite solid. In the meantime, we can research Mill Foundry. We'll get it in 3 turns, so actually... it's probably not best to switch over here, but okay. And should we activate Die? It doesn't actually improve our happiness all that much, although it increased the influence production. Maybe I'll wait till I get the Founders Memorial, because the Founders Memorial gives us 1 influence point. And at that point, the die will increase our influence production by 1 and not by 1/2. So that's substantially, or it's better enough that it's worth waiting. So much for the first turn. Yeah, it's been a long time talking about what makes this faction unique. Okay, so the first quest involves us being jerks to these poor villagers. And we have to win 3 battles. So previously, I think sometimes that quest gives you the option to pacify a bunch of villagers. Oh, we have titanium in our starting region. That's great. In case you didn't know, titanium is the best early-ish. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. No, wait, no, oh, come on. Okay, never mind. That move was like, I tried to move back, and then I accidentally lost the movement point, so that was obviously horrendous. Because I accidentally clicked through this. So, what is titanium good for? It's good for this tier 2 weaponry, and it gives you the most attack and damage, so that's really good that we have titanium available to us. Sometimes you have neither titanium or glass steel, that's the worst case scenario. Sometimes you have glass steel, which is still okay, and sometimes you have titanium, which is great. So I'm just going to keep exploring this barren wasteland. And here a bit, but after that, we want to start thinking about linking up our armies. Because the sooner we can start killing off, I want to say civilians. The sooner we can start killing off minor faction armies and taking minor faction villages, the sooner we can start generating recycling counters for our stockpile. Actually, I forgot. If militia die, they add to the recycling stockpile, and militia regenerate over time. So if we can get militia killed, that'll be great. Again, this is by no means the original tactic, but it is very important to maximize our recycling stockpile. As you can see, when you mouse over and right click, you can see the area where you can get reinforcements. And if your city's in the reinforcement area, you'll get militia's reinforcements. As you can see, we don't have any options to pursue diplomacy. So. Okay, they're spawned here. Interesting. I'm just going to move back so I can get my militia in the fight. Ideally, the militia will just die off and kill them. Actually, I'd rather want the militia to die than our hero to actually finish the fight. Because if you think about it, we have potential to get 3 different stockpiles from militia, and only the potential to get 2 stockpiles from the manufacturing units. So actually, the militia dying is potentially the most important thing about this fight for us. Although obviously we still want to defeat this manufacturing hold. Let's just wait. Whoops. It's always funny when you click out and then you leave combat. Alright, let's go here. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna they target heroes for some reason. Okay, it doesn't look like the militia is gonna die actually. Or maybe they will. Question is, how many turns do we have left? Let's move him back. Although I always want Feeds on Bones to be ready to jump into the fight if needs be. I don't think Feeds on Bones will need to. Nice. So these guys have 3 counters, which is good. Because it means they'll deal more damage to our militia. Hopefully, okay, I want this militia to die, but otherwise I'm okay. To move Feeds on Bones back. Clearly he's not needed. Yeah, for once I'm demonstrating, like, good control, so that's nice. So we did win that fight, and we lost an additional militia, so we gained 3 cadavers, which is, you know, it's pretty nice. Keep stepping over dead bodies. Now we can just buy this out with dust, and I think we should, because it will rectify our dust situation, but also it will allow us to get a mill foundry next turn, or start building a mill foundry next turn. Again, you want to sort of buy out when it aligns very nicely with something else you want to get. If we would have bought that out at the start, I mean, we couldn't, but if we would have bought it out at the start, we would have had like 2 turns building a suboptimal upgrade and would have wasted dust for no reason. So as a thumb rule, or as a rule of thumb, the thumb rules, just generally try and align your production, I think. Like, we could have just gone for this thing faster, but then we wouldn't have gotten the food nearly as fast, you know. Now, because we have a lot of science in our starting city, I think we don't have to get the science upgrade right away. I think I want to actually go for cultivation. Because we're starved on food, cultivation is quite strong, and we can pick it up very early. So cultivation's main downside is if you get it late, because then you're close to the winter, and you can't get that much value out of it. But I think we can get it early enough that it's important. And obviously the Guardians expansion adds husbandry center, and husbandry center is really good. We're probably going to have to build up food in our civilization at some point, because we can't rely on military too early before we get the proliferator. So I'm interested in picking up cultivation right away. We can also get public library instead. Although I'll check next turn, but I don't feel like we have to get public library right away, at least. I mean, obviously we do want public library afterwards, but I think we can get cultivation just a little bit sooner, just to benefit from the food production. So it looks like we're around a lot of volcanic areas. Doesn't hurt us as much because we don't get that much food anyways from terrain. So we're not as upset about being next to volcanic areas. So now we start the mill foundry. And we can get them both in... Actually, maybe it's just best to get this worker first and then move them both over to the mill foundry. And then we'll probably get them both in 3 turns anyways. Alright. Now we can get this next food... We can get this next upgrade in 3 turns, so I'm just going to go for the cultivation, because it is more important to get the food up than the science at the moment, because our science is quite strong, but our food is quite weak. Like, 14 science is pretty good for this stage of the game, actually. Let's keep searching temples. Yep. Our hero leveled up. I'm not going to snap our hero back yet. But when I do, I'm definitely going to get these food upgrades for our city, but in the meantime I would like to do some marauding for our hero. Now let's see what the legendary needs are. If we destroy 10 armies, we get this visionary leader, which gives us tactical training, bonus initiative on empire. This is more important for us than usual, I think, because firstly, we're in a position where we can destroy a lot of armies because we're playing necrophages. But secondly, the ability to gain initiative on all of our units is going to be quite nice if we're going to plan on attacking a lot. That being said, it's kind of hard to do this because the AI has more armies than us, so, you know, as usual, kind of edged out there. And if we activate 4 luxury boosters, we can get this a huge amount of emeralds, which is less impressive because emeralds are the worst. Like, absolutely abysmal. Like, the 5 food never matters, so the 5 bonus to happiness almost never matters, the bonus to fortification almost never matters, so, you know, we have a completely underwhelming luxury booster. A civilization builder for this Museum of Auriga. That's good. The museum is nice. I think the museum is probably the best of these buildings, the legendary buildings, but we don't have the resources for it yet. But when we do, we'll definitely build this at some point. We don't have to worry about these right away. 10 armies of other empires to get free counter. This is doable for us, I guess, and be the first to produce 2,000 influence at the start of the game. This is impossible. I definitely want to try and link up my armies now. So let's just head straight for each other. We can probably defeat the ninja here. Wait, oh no, I forgot about the cliff. Damn it! Alright, so that's less straightforward than I thought. But we can link up in the next 2 turns. In the meantime, we... Cliffs! Damn it! I always forget to check, and this time it really bit me in the ass. Much like the the necrophages will probably do. The cravophages, come on, they're so similar. We can actually buy out this mill foundry. Although I'm not sure I see the point, like it's only accelerating it by 1 turn. And what we're going to do with that extra turn? If we're waiting for cultivation anyway. I guess I can get cultivation a turn sooner, and then accelerate everything by a turn. That actually seems fair. There's more spices here? Spicy. So the fact that there are so many spices in this region is obviously really good, because then we can just generate a ton of it. And also extra titanium, I think, over here. No, not in this region, but over here. So, well, there's a lot of spices. Damn it. So next time we pick up that mill foundry, we pick up that cultivation. and we start attacking manufacturing villages. Who are these people? Delvers. Kind of tough to take out. Question is, do we want to be low or higher? Like, around this village? Do we want to move? Let's see, this is a Kazanji, those are all also hard to defeat. Maybe the Ninja are the easiest to defeat, in which case we want to move up. I think they are, actually. We move Feeds and Bones over. Ours Feeds and Bones is a military armor. Hero. Bonus attack on army is nice. And we have Slavery, which is a great trait for a governor. I'll explain that more when we turn him into governor, but basically it means that... is it him? Oh, it is him. Good. So the thing about Slavery is that we gain bonus food and industry production on our workers as long as we have pacified villages in the region, and we gain 1 bonus for each pacified village. So if you move a work over, you'll notice that increases this by 5, right? That's a standard amount. But with the Slavery upgrade, if we had this village pacified and rebuilt, we increase it by 6. So we're gaining cumulative bonus for each population we have, based on the pacified villages. And that has the potential to be like, at like 3 or 2, which is already pretty substantial. And we already get the bonus. We also get the bonus for food from our traits, so that's going to be like a total of 4 maybe on if we have 2 villages pacified. Wait, what does our trait say? Sorry, cull the herd. Okay, 2 population plus 2 per village, so that's already really strong. Compounded the Slavery trait. I think we should just activate the die now, just to get more influence points over time. And then we can, yeah, like 3 influence points for. They will definitely have enough for the double booster effect on a single village. I'm just going to pick up seed storage, and then afterwards we get this Judge's village. It's also quite important. And I think we can prioritize building this. Obviously I'd like to put everything into food, but at the same time I'd also like the seed storage buff, so... And once we pick up this village, our food production will also increase because of our trade. So, we need 5 additional bodies on the pile. That's going to be 3 villages and or one of our foragers dying. So there's actually upside to killing our own foragers here. I would like to save stockpiles for the dust eclipse, but that might not be possible. So these units are actually quite strong. So we want to tank for our hero. Actually, they have lower initiative than we do, never mind. Do they have sweep strike back? No, they only have circular attack. That's fine. I think I want to... No, I can't actually... I can attack up here with exactly 1 army unit, so it's fine. Okay, we move... No, that doesn't work. Move them over here. Attack this guy with this forager. So the forager attacks like this, and then our hero attacks over there. We just want to apply our disease nerf to each of these characters. Or debuff, I should say. Alright, so I guess we can attack once more with each of these characters. But then we probably have to move this one back. Yeah, that was a lot of damage. Okay. So, the advantage of initiative is that you get to dictate how the trades happen. So in this case, we get to dictate that our unit will not die, but theirs will. So initiative is extremely powerful in this game, obviously. And I think we could just let our hero do the rest of the work. Normally your hero tanks because the hero gathers more aggro naturally. And I guess I could have tanked more of my hero, so I didn't need to get my army units that wounded. Yeah. So maybe I could have controlled that better, and that might have been a big problem because of how important attacking is for us. Oh, we have to get this technology. So at this point I should probably get a public library to improve our science. And then probably Empire Mint. Well, we already have a higher happiness amount. Actually, if we get sewer system, that boosts us into ecstatic. And gives us a little bit more science and dust, and also influence. So maybe sewer system is even correct, yeah. But come on, public library, no. They're both good. And we have other stuff to build in the meantime, so... It's not like one of those weird situations where you pick up public library, but then you build it, and then you have nothing else to do until the science is unlocked. I think we should just prioritize food production. So here, these are some nice anomalies if we want to invade this region. Maybe that means I should just check this area out. I still need my foragers to heal. Okay, Orcas are tough opponents. Don't have to necessarily take them out immediately. There's also another player. That's interesting. Oh. Do I want to attack these assassins? We're both low. I think so, actually. Because we're going to get a new stockpile from doing this. Although it will prevent us from attacking minor faction armies. Which will get us this quest. Actually, armies in general. Maybe they'll run away. I think we control better, and assassins are quite fragile. Yeah, I'm actually into this. Let's do it. Let's move this army unit. Assassins have like 3 move, right? So they can move 1, 2, 3 here. And there's where's the last assassin? Over there. Okay, that's pretty. Actually, we could single out this guy, or we could just take them down and like easily pick them up. So this assassin could move over here and attack this forager. Am I okay with that? Probably. But I'd rather surround them. Yeah. I'm sort of hoping I can just gank this assassin. She moves very slowly, although she's very powerful. So the aim here is just to kill something, actually. As bad as that sounds. Yeah, I just want to hit the assassin with my hero. And then I can think about what my next move is afterwards. If we defeat the assassins, we can kite this hero for days. So. This assassin moves up, probably attacks our hero, we get some free hits in. Yeah, I think that should be the plan. Never mind, they're dead. That probably means that this guy's gonna fall now. Okay, we traded units, but that's great, because now we've basically acquired a stockpile. And that was the entire purpose of this. I mean, we lost the unit, and we needed to have, so that was probably bad. But at the same time, we're weakening this AI, and we're also generating stockpiles. That probably means I want to build another unit at some point. Yeah, maybe losing a unit was just too bad there. But okay. This hero is incredibly powerful, so maybe I should just actually run. Maybe that was a bit ambitious. Now we just kite them because they're quite slow. Oddly, the hero of the second, yeah, obviously, oddly the hero of the Forgotten is like the opposite of all their units because it's like a slow, sturdy unit, high damage, and the rest of their units are just so like maneuverable and like, yeah, it's generally not that slow. What else to say? Let's move this forager back and just attack. So losing a forager was not ideal, but I think getting the stockpile right away might have been important enough for our economy that I'm fine with it. And it actually looks like our hero might just win this dogfight. Oh. I don't know if it's a dog. So we got a stockpile, and next time we can just pick up this hero, and that's going to give us a lot of experience on our hero. And also, it's going to give us probably another cadaver for the stockpile. Now, I could wait for the dust eclipse for 3 units, And maybe I do want to. Look, it's just hard to know when a dust eclipse is going to hit. If there's going to be a dust eclipse soon, I'm going to be like kicking myself for not picking the hero. But if there isn't, I'm going to be kicking myself for not getting a new population now. So I think the population is probably the correct choice, even though it's possible it'll turn out very badly for us. As you can see, we get a population unit immediately, 130 food production. Yeah. The next time we can kill this character. I'll probably make an incursion into their territory to see if we can pick up a settler or something. Let's rock. And we can just solo this of our hero, I think. I say that and my army unit immediately moves into combat. Yep, and we got him. That actually counts as a cadaver. Interesting, because heroes can be healed, so I don't know how that counts as a body. I guess, I guess it makes sense from a gameplay perspective, that's not extra confusing, but also it doesn't make sense from a lore perspective. Sometimes those two go against each other, right? From gameplay, it's much smoother if everything is a cadaver, but from lore perspective, it doesn't make sense. Okay, we have to search the temple ruins after gathering 10 titanium and then 20 spices. And then we get emeralds, which is like, you know, no reward at all, but okay. What are these? Lurkers? Hard to beat. Maybe I should just turn this hero into a warrior. Because we're going to have to be doing a lot of fighting. And they're a decent warrior hero. But at the same time, they're also a good governor. And we have 3 population units now. We can put them all into food, or we can put them all into industry. Get this Jotus village faster. Getting the Jotus village will improve the food production in that city by 2 per population unit, which is appealing, don't get me wrong, but maybe not as appealing. Although, look, this is getting us a population in 3 turns and improving our food production. So it's getting us a population in 2 turns. But maybe it's correct to do this. Maybe it's better to do this, actually. Because once we get the extra food production, we're going to put everyone back into food, and that's going to be quite nice. I almost want to get a necro drone after that. We'll see. Probably want public library after that. And also the fact that we're getting public library and stuff means that this clearing up our industry queue has value independently of getting us another worker. Yeah, I still want these 2 upgrades. Because our army units are going to be together most of the time, don't actually care that much about... what was I going to say? I don't actually care that much about upkeep because it's going to be quite low. Okay. Let's keep it like that. We do want new army units at some point, but... maybe I should just move my hero back and increase the food production of my city. Doesn't look like we're going to be fighting anytime soon. Oh, is there going to be a dust eclipse? Oh, great. Never mind. It does send a very strong signal. True that. I mean, and you probably shouldn't ignore it. We do actually have to take out these Orcas at some point. We don't have any ranged units, so that's a bit unfortunate. After this we get public library. Yeah, I think we could slow down on like offensive stuff, in which case we definitely want to move our hero to the city. Wait, why can't we assign them? Because this clock thing. Okay, we'll just pick up this necrotic agriculture, which is obviously a really good upgrade. Like 8 food is pretty big, and then 14 food is huge. This is a nice upgrade to get more units. So our aggression is slowed down a bit, which is bad because we're not generating as much food. Oh, we're next to Broken Lords? Yeah. I think those are Broken Lords. Yeah. So that's interesting. Okay, somebody leveled up to level 2. Not a great sign, but not a horrible sign either. I mean, the AI always overtakes you with like science. It's like impossible to pull ahead of it. Yeah, let me just go here so I get that science faster. I'm not getting any benefit from putting production into food at the moment. I wonder if I should just harry this Urka's village. Because I can always kite them if I can't beat them. And I have to beat them at some point. There's not much upside to doing it though. Now let me just move the hero here, and then I can just scout with my forager, not my worker. Forager sounds like a worker though. Yeah, I wonder if losing that forager is gonna like hurt me a lot. Although it's probably better just to focus on production for a while. And then later I can build a stronger army and pick up those other cadavers way faster. Yeah, this may be unrealistic for us. And also the fact that we have slavery on this village. Look how much each worker increases the production here, like by 9 points? Ridiculous. What does a worker do for this? 6 points. Which is already more than average because of our slavery perk, and the fact we have this village. So our hero is actually doing quite important things for our village here. I mean our city. I wonder if I just pick up Necrodurance. Although it's better to get an advanced army first with titanium. Getting a burrow would be neat, but also reduce our happiness. And our booster's about to run out, so it's a bit of a risk. I sort of doubt that we won't get the sewer system in 2 turns when we get the public library. So I don't actually have to worry too much about that. Unfortunately, our starting foragers are just not that good at fighting. I think I want this Hell Crab region. I think I'll settle for Hell Crab. But to do it, I'm gonna have to build some better army units first. Revenge, eh? Ah, they flanked me. Makes sense. That's only fair, I did that to them, so yeah. I'm just gonna run away with this army here. Yeah, so my initial armies, they got me the first stockpile, which is fine. Like, obviously I would have wanted to gain more value of them, and maybe I should have, but at the same time, like, that's okay, it's not the end of the world. Get another population unit, or I can get the husbandry center faster. What the husbandry center lets me do is it basically increases the food production for my population even more. So in this area we're going to get like, wait, this is +5, so +8 food production for population. So our food on our main city is going to like skyrocket, and so much so that I don't even know if I need new areas. Well, I do want new areas at some point, but I don't need them right away. So yeah. Interesting, maybe I should try like one basing in general. You know, like my time with the cultists has sort of convinced me of like, you know, one base is not that bad. Not so bad. It's not like endless space where you get overrun if you stay on one normally. Maybe at this point I probably do want the actually spice extractor is valuable. Probably get that, and then Empire Mint. I didn't need the dust that much. Dust is nice, don't get me wrong, but what am I using it for? So we should get the sewer system at some point. Probably get the husbandry center first. Do we have enough approval? We definitely have enough approval to get the 30-30. So the thing is, also with spending or building cities, I generally like to get a second city, not before turn 20. But because if I do, I'm gonna have to pay more influence for the starting bonuses. The more I play, the less I feel inclined to expand. Kind of funny. In some ways, it's safer to start on less bases or cities. Yeah, next turn we pick up Husbandry Center. Next turn the Eclipse also starts, which is annoying, because I could have used that extra population to get some very valuable units. But okay. Hard for me to predict that. I'm not sure which is in principle correct, but okay. Here's a Temporal Ruins. We can also snap our hero back to get that Temporal Ruins. Don't think we should. But okay. We can go there for that Temporal Ruins, and we can go in this direction hoping to find one. There's only one Temporal Ruins here, so maybe going in a random direction hoping to find Temporal Ruins is a bit better. Or an unexplored direction, I should say, it's not random. This 4 is misleading because we're also getting extra population from a village. Wait, what is this? This is a swift conflux, right? Yeah. Bonus movement speed is amazing. It's like the best conflux by far. That kind of makes me want to go back for this thing. Or I just go there. Yeah, this is at least one guaranteed one. This. Here's one too. So we can go for that and then probably move down here. Oh, that's Eclipse Temple, but it's blocked by the quest. That's annoying. Anyway. That happens. Basically, the quest is preventing us from completing that temple. As you can see, like, each population adds so much. Like, let me just move it. Like, look. Like, 12, 16. Sorry, 37. Wait, never mind. That's 21, but 37 is like increasing it by 16, and I'm increasing by another 6. Like, this is an absurd amount of food we're generating. Like, that's amazing. It almost makes me want to not expand because then I'm losing that food production if I do expand. It's probably like a self-justifying loop. Like, it's gonna get problematic really soon. Let's rock. Oh, I forgot about the cliff phase again. Oh, oh no! Should retreat again? It's fine, retreating is my specialty. As you might have gotten from the the LAE playthrough. We just keep... Ideally we can get another couple of temples just for the dust. And with the dust we can then buy a new hero. So what other upgrades do we need? We need this mercenary market. And then because we start with the 2 important upgrades, with this for military, Echo Drone and Alchemist Furnace, we actually have a lot of choices, and we don't have the party, so we actually have more options, weirdly, to pick up important upgrades. I guess Empire Mint is important, so... topography is not bad. The Center for Mineralogy. There. Mineralogy? Oh, whatever. The Center for whatever, science, is obviously good, but it's not going to be better, I think, than this Empire Mint or the Spice Extractor. And Mercenary Market is absolutely crucial. Like, you can't get by without heroes. Like, it's mad. So maybe we go back for this, but is it going to be better than Alchemy Workshop? I don't know. I feel like Geomic Labs is so weak, but Center for Minerals is not bad. The trouble is you only get one of it, so. Damn it! I forgot to move him. Well, that's really bad. My brave forager split the dust. Wow, that was a stock change. I guess I should get a settler after this. Although, maybe I just keep building up my city and get random stuff like necro drones. Because I just lost my army, so if I can make a new one, that'll be good. And I have so much production that maybe it's even worth it to do that. Currently I'm on Fervent. I think 80% is still Fervent, so I could build a burrow, but then I would have to... yeah, I'd have to be a bit creative when I expand in terms of approval. Can we reassign this hero? Yeah, we can. We could just send our hero to scout a bit. Yeah, so losing that warrior was obviously not good, but you know, it happens. It happens to me. I forgot how the game works. And I guess losing 5 turns on the governors is not ideal, but okay. It happens. Right. Should probably get this. We want more warriors soon. Reducing the price on, or reducing the price tag on our warriors is pretty impressive. As you can see, our hero did make a difference here. I think I'll just get another population, then build a settler very quickly. And then take it from there. Where do we want to expand? Probably here. But that means we're going to be in contention of like at least one other empire. Maybe Metak here is like a better location strategically, although obviously it doesn't have as many anomalies. It's an anomaly. Anemone? My finding Nebo knowledge is poor. Anemone? Anemone? Oh boy. Now we can get the Empire plan. Bonus science on cities is nice. We can get bonus dust production, but we don't actually need it, I don't think. I don't know. Do we have enough dust for another hero? Probably not. Though we do want another hero at some point. Interesting choice. This will help us put our workers into dust for another hero. But this will help us build up units, which is kind of important because we need units to get cadavers. So I'm just going to go like that. It's probably a bit greedy to put my hero off my city. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I'm still like experimenting with this faction a bit. Yeah, actually, the fact that there's palm trees is there. This is actually a really good anomaly, so I'm actually inclined to just put it here and then just conquer the deltas next. So the max reduction we're getting here is 2 turns. 2 turns for a settler is no joke. We have so many population units in the city. Like, despite the fact that we start off of very poor food, we've made it work. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Always make sure I know when the hero is coming back. I can even put the hero on my... I met the Broken Lords, not great. Well, I might as well scout the area now. If the Vanguard moves far away, I'm just going to attack it. No shame. Okay, now there's winter. Winter is here. This game is like Game of Thrones, but more efficient because winter actually happens. Come back! Come back! I want to be your friend! Don't leave me! Okay, we definitely want Empire Mint now. Because at some point we'll be buying mercenaries, and at that point I probably just want to get extra dust production. I know I talked myself out of picking up the dust production, because I thought unit production would be more important, and I think it would be more important, but at the same time, right, I should get this in 3 turns, so I can just build a level 2 Necro Drone. Yeah, let's just move down here. It's the safest expansion by far. Yeah, okay, we never... it would have been nice to pick this up, but okay. I don't think we actually have to expand that much. Like, with 2 cities, we have enough of an industrial base that we can think about invading other territories. Oh, we're losing population very soon. Yeah, I don't know. To say that would not be ideal would be an understatement in the extreme. Okay, in 3 turns we pick up Empire Mint, we get a new population, we get the next tier of technologies. At that point we can build level 2 units with level 2 basic armors. But we can also get alchemical armors, alchemical alloys, this alchemy workshop, proliferator, and once we have our military, once we get our science and happiness up to 4, I think at that point, maybe even get public granary. Actually, we don't have any glass steel, so maybe not. At that point, we can start building up our armies with alchemical alloys, armors, proliferators, and then we go for, I think, a 2-city timing push. This is like the only faction where I'm confident with that strategy. So, actually, this hero is not going to be there in time. We might as well wait these 5 turns, put the city down here in a good spot, and then move the hero over. So let's take our hero back. Actually, we get this production reduction, so maybe our hero is best on our main city. In that case, do we want a Necro Drone? Nah, let's just wait to get the Necro Donator. So, what's the recap for this episode? Like, I let my army units die. Not great. But the first cadaver was good enough to propel us to a very solid city. Like, this is a great start. Like, 6 workers, like, after expanding, is pretty amazing, I think. Against human players, I'll be very confident. Against the AI, anything can happen. But we are next to Broken Lords, and I think they are, in some ways, fresh meat. I mean, they have powerful armies. Maybe I should rather attack Orange, because Forgotten armies are generally squishier. But, yeah, in general, I'm feeling like I've set myself up pretty well for a 2-city timing attack. Possibly on the faction which is closest to us, we'll see. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll tune in for the next episode as we bring the Eternal War to other empires. So thanks again for viewing, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something. And if you did, please consider subscribing to help out the channel. So thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you next time.